Hey.
Good? All right. So, hey, welcome, guys. I'll probably do annual inspections next month. How's that? I'll show everybody where they're at. So, all you're required to have is the sticker. And like I said, they're on you open the driver's side, either compartment door or the door for the sleeper if you're driving to Peterbilt, should be right there. On the trailers, always by the landing gear lower.
I don't see it in the truck. I open the door, I don't see it anymore. Does the stickers that go in the door?
No, it's a big sticker. It's about this big.
Oh, really?
Hey, Wyatt, run out or George, grab one.
Yeah, there's that red one.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. But I don't see it in the truck.
Okay.
I don't find it.
All right. So Anna was supposed to be here, but then she decided to take her kid to a parade. Her child had not been to a parade. Did everybody sign in?
Yes.
Everybody sign in? Stragglers?
Yeah.
All right. I want to make sure everybody signs in. All right. So calling for a permit, we're going to call Anna. Permits and dispatch are completely separate from each other. They don't communicate with the dam.
Nobody communicates. Well, me and you do, but
Yeah. Wear the blue shirt today. We're twins. Twins, yes. Right here, twins. Yeah. So usually does not. She doesn't know your load, your route, nothing. She doesn't know anything. And when you guys call her, you need to have all the information. She gives these cards out during orientation. If you still need these cards, she'll provide you with as many as you want. But we need to know the truck number, trailer number, what states you're traveling to, where you're entering each state at, where you're thinking you're going to exit, your pickup and delivery address, how long you are, how wide you are, if you're tall, how much overhang side to side, and the date of the load. So when you're measuring this, front overhang is the length extending from the front bumper of the vehicle. So when we have front overhang, it has to be, that's where front overhang is. Not here on the trailer. So I guess you couldn't find a flatbed trailer, so she used this one.
Front overhang ain't that usually for car haulers?
Car haulers or cranes or all sorts of different things. So front overhang is not what's between your truck and your trailer. I had an argument with Idaho State Police was the only people that the port of entry up there by Boise was the only one. Was it yours, Lo?
no, it wasn't mine, but I remember.
Yeah. The guy was a jackwagon, man. He wrote tickets. He wrote us like 2 or 3 tickets. I finally contacted the prosecutor, got a hold of him. I'm like, this is stupid. No other state does this. And so finally we got everything thrown out. All right, so here's the bad news, guys. We have double alerts. So as a safety guy, it makes me pucker because I know what comes in. So when I was a trooper and I did audits on trucking companies, this is exactly what I looked for. So this is what we do not want to see. Come on up, Katie. This is Kaylee. She's the new sheriff in town. So I'm letting her do all the discipline. She used to play softball and she has a Louisville slugger. She said she can use that. I don't know. But no, Kaylee's going to be doing your guys' the miles without hours, the PC violations, the logbook violations, all that. So she'll be sending you messages. Please respond to her. If you don't, we're just going to assign it. So, anyways, do you have your phone yet? Or?
No, we had her was supposed to get
Okay.
it on Friday. But,
What's your extension? 108 is her extension, okay? Good?
What was that?
108.
Which one? Which 101?
Extension if you need to call them on the phone.
Ray, your job is to keep him awake today. So, Kaylee is Stephen's daughter. Hi, Kenny.
Hi.
Don't mind me.
So, anyways, so that's it.
Yeah.
You have anything you want to tell them or nothing?
Respect them as long as they respect. I'll
Did you hear that?
respect you as long as you respect me. You know? Talk to me, tell me what's going on, and we'll figure it out from there, I guess.
She's Steven's daughter, so she has the Ray temper.
Yeah.
Be careful. All right, so we got an alert in the unsafe driving, and then we have an alert in hours of service, and they're not going away. So we were supposed to lose the hours of service alert at the end of this month, but somebody got a really bad inspection, and we're going to get bent over. So here's our unsafe driving. We are coming down a bit, but we've got to get below the 65, and right now we're at 70. So I think it's going to be 2 more months before this drops off. Auditors look for companies with violations. Then when they come in, they pull everybody who has had the bad violations, and that's who they're going to do the inspections on. Yeah.
I told you yesterday, but a cop pulled me over. I think the reason 99%, the reason that he pulled me over, the first thing he come into his mouth is, we in a bad area there.
Yeah. I'm going to get that.
Because he asked me about bypassing the scales. Every time I go to the scale, they give me green.
Yeah.
And he told me, do you want the scales? Well, how do I go in the scale when I have bypass?
If it tells you to bypass, go. Unless you're oversized.
True.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, right.
I've been told that sign on the side of the road, if that says pull in, your bypass says go, supersedes, the sign supersedes the bypass. Pull in.
No, that's wrong. Your in-cab signal supersedes everything else.
Okay.
So that's why we went with DriveWise, is because you can go in there and show that you received a bypass for the scale. If it says pull in, and your tablet says bypass, and you're not oversized, hammer down. No, not hammer down. Down to the speed limits.
Right.
Can you put that in the recording so we can all have it? That way the trooper can pull this over. My safety manager said this.
No, if he pulls you over, call me.
Oh, you?
Yeah, call me.
In Oregon, they have a sign that says follow in-cab signals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way it's set up.
And one more thing, I stopped at Utah, Arizona border going into St. George last week. And I took my permit in there because she wanted to know how much I had overhang. I had less than 6 foot. He said, have a nice day. I said, you know what? I got a question for you. I said, I'm not oversized. I said, the permit puts me up to 10 feet before I have to get a special permit. What's my speed
No, you
limit?
have a permit. The permit for Utah is how much? Overhang off the back, guys.
6.
It's 6. Is it 6 or 7? Six.
Or beyond.
6 or beyond. So
I thought it
if
was 120 feet.
no, it's overhang too. So if you're running under a permit, you have to pull in.
Okay, well, I talked to the Arizona inspector and I asked her, do we need to run less than 10 feet where we don't require a special permit? I said, we got the blanket permit for the company up to 10 feet. Are we required to run 55 miles an hour under 10 feet? She goes, no. It's not, you're not oversized. And when she specified oversized, it's oversized and overweight, which requires a special permit that you have to run.
Anything over 6 feet is a special permit. And you are required to be at 55. So let me fill you in on ADOT. They are mouth breathers.
Okay.
There's a reason they work at ADOT and they're not a cop. Now they did start their own law enforcement agency, but me and some other guys will have that dissolved here shortly.
Yeah, they sit right there in the line in St. George and Arizona.
So yeah, if you're over 6 foot off the butt, pull in. You have to, no matter what your in-cab signal says, pull in. Now in California, what's oversized on overhang off the back? 14 feet on our trailers, guys. Unless you're pulling one of the stretches, then it's going to be different. But we have 48 feet. So it's up to 1/3 of your trailer length can overhang, and they don't consider it oversized. Okay?
I thought it was 2/3.
Huh?
I thought it was 2/3.
It's a third. That's why it's 14 feet.
I thought it was 2/3 or up to 120 feet. Alright.
So here's our top violations. At the top, seatbelt. So, yeah. Well, we keep getting them.
What the fuck? It's not hard to put on the damn seatbelt on.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's not.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, no. Oh.
So seatbelts, guys, wear your seatbelts. What's going to end up happening is if we keep getting this, they're going to order the trucks with the bright green seatbelts in them.
Bright green?
Yeah.
Light green.
Fluorescent green seatbelt.
Oh.
And you can see the green all around.
Yeah. Orange?
Yeah.
So, the other thing is that when the feds or the state come in and do an audit, they'll start pushing policy on us because we can't control ourselves. So they're going to say, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. Otherwise, they'll turn off our DOT number for 30 days. If they turn it off for 30 days. So 6 to 10 over, that's the other one. So what do you think the feds will say on that one? Keep the trucks running at 75, or do you think they're going to say, yeah, that's exactly it. You wonder why big companies have so many rules. It's because too many drivers take it upon themselves to do whatever the hell they want, and it ruins that for everybody. So I'm not saying any one person in here has done everything, but you guys got to help police yourselves.
So, Mr. J, they can actually come in and say, hey, your truck's going to be governed at this speed now, or?
Yeah, they'll say you can either govern them at this, or we're going to shut you down for 30 days.
Wow.
But even if they govern us at 65, right? You're still going to get 10 overs because everybody's going to run from 65 to California.
Oh, I had a guy running 82 through California.
That's where I'm going. I go to California. I set my cruise at 60 miles an hour. Scott took a look and said, "Where are you going so fast?" Right? I set my cruise at 60.
That's the smart thing.
I get blown. My doors get blown off by the white mountain trucks.
And you'll get your doors blown off by that person 20, 30, 40 times, but eventually it's going to catch him. And then he burns the company. And then what happens is that driver gets in trouble, and then what does he do? Does he stay around for his trouble, or does he go?
Disappears.
And he goes to the next one. So here's our crash indicator. We need to bring it down. Here's our hours of service, and this is what's killing us. We're at 40, and we're going to go above 40. So we're right at the threshold of 65. We met the threshold, except with the violations that were just received, it'll push us above the 65. So false record of duty status. So again, PC to further your trip is false. They're diving into this hard, guys. Record of duty status, general form and manner. What has to be on your log? Truck, trailer, and BOL, right? I can't tell you how many freaking guys, and that's part of Kayleen's job, is she's going to be calling and watching the log. You got to have the information on there. How do you erase your old trailer and your old bill of ladings? Anybody know?
Complicated.
It's not complicated. You go to the day of your log, you bring it up, and you have all these trailers. You just go through and you delete them all.
It's simple.
Could you put the commodity that you're hauling, like lumber, instead of the BOL number, or?
If you do the commodity, you have to do the shipper name also.
Yeah. Like CMC would be steel, rebar.
Yeah.
Steel, rebar.
He told me yesterday we can put the bill lady only.
Yeah, bill of lading number only, or the shipper and commodity. So, the next thing, hey guys, driver failing to maintain ELD user's manual. This one drives me bananas. How many places is it inside your tablet?
3.
And you have a door card.
And you have a door card.
Yep.
So, you guys have everything right there.
Can you go back to John?
Yeah.
Just reading all those real quick. What's the maintain supply of blank draw?
You have to have at least 8 days blank logs in your truck at all times, right?
Every
Right,
truck. Not just paper log, every truck.
Yeah. Well, ELDs have to have blank paper logs in their truck.
In case you're young.
In case your ELD goes down, then you have a way to do your duty statuses. And if your ELD goes down and you call me, I'll print them off and I'll fax them to a truck stop or I'll do whatever it takes to get them to you. I can email them to you, whatever. But then you've got it.
Are there still little sheets down there?
No,
No?
no.
You guys need logs? I got some in my office. George, you want to grab a box?
Bring me a stack up there.
So, you open
I took the
box?
last pack.
Alright.
That's where I
So these are going to go on the inside of your truck. These are actually for outside the trucks, but it's good. That's what this thing is for, is to keep it from fading. And they're going to write on this. On these, they use like a stencil pencil, and they stencil it in. So these are the two things you're looking for, guys. Make sure your truck and trailers are good. So the date on here, you have how long after that date for it to be good?
1 year.
1 year.
1 year. Then after that year, it expires. It's expired. So we need to. Oh, grab the whole box, the top box, please. So
Pick up a trailer somewhere and it's expired.
So if you pick up a trailer somewhere and it is expired, then what you need to do is call Scott or call the shop. Dan Nader's our weekend shop manager. They should be able to print you off one and take a picture and text it to you so you have it. And then we need to get the trailer back in here for the inspection. But we can't keep doing violations. We can't. No, let's see. I bought all this. Oh, that's it. I'm shotgunning now.
Oh yeah, your sleeper, it might have this one right now, but we're gonna change it to these because these will stick. These stick better in your trailer.
Yeah.
These tend to fold and get stuck on themselves. You guys see that? Just let someone in maintenance know. We'll rewrite it up.
Whoa.
I'll rewrite it up for you.
You play softball.
I did actually in high school.
Did you play softball?
She must
I
make like right
actually did,
field.
yeah.
All right. So here's our controlled substance, driver fitness. Again, it's not fitness, it's operating without your glasses on, operating without your hearing aid in, stuff like that. If you guys have a restriction, follow the restrictions. Regardless if you can see without your glasses, obviously you couldn't do it with at the DMV because then they wouldn't have put the restriction on. So here's our ISS score. Do you guys see what that number is? 89. 100's the effing worst you can get. So that's what's got us screwed. So you got one of these guys. So when they pull up beside you and they're running our DOT number, this is why you'll be receiving less bypasses. So this is right out of a patrol vehicle. As they run our number, what does it say? Right after the number. Inspect. So they want inspections done on us. Because we've shown that we can't do a damn thing right. Or some have.
John, remember they pulled me in Monday and then they pulled me in Tuesday?
Yeah. We gotta be clean, guys. Do your freaking pre-trips, do your post-trips. Make sure your securement's right. Make sure you have your stuff on your log. How often do you have to certify your logs?
Every day.
Every day. The day that you're on does not have to be certified, but the prior day absolutely has to. And the prior days back have to. Know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, come in. I will take the time to show you whatever you need to know. But we're heading down a bad hole. So these are what, during the safety audit, this is what they focus on. Driver qualifications, driver's duty status hours, so hours of service, vehicle maintenance, accident register and documentation, and then controlled substance and alcohol use testing. So in the rules it says that it is applicable to all employers, employees, commercial motor vehicles that transport property or passengers. So everybody here who's an employee, I only did it like 3 times. I went after the drivers, but federal fines start at $850 per occurrence. You know there's no court. You guys aware of that? There's no court. So a company out of Tucson, I had a fine of $192,000 on the owner. And you know what the feds said to him when he pled with them? They said, pay. Otherwise, we're turning off all your registrations, even your personal vehicles. So there's no jerking around. And so you guys know that you have a part to play in this, and that you can be fined. Here's the one that's stuck it in our butt real hard. So the very first thing, false record of duty status. Using PC, drove from where? Rancho Cucamonga to Cathedral City.
God dang. Are you fucking kidding me?
Where's Cathedral City?
No, not at all.
How many miles is that?
Cathedral City is
It's
out
53
by-
miles.
What the fuck are we doing?
Then look at number 2. It was on his dash when he pulled into the port of entry. He stated he didn't know it was illegal to have a radar detector. So you guys are all aware it's illegal
Oh, sure.
to have a radar detector in a commercial motor vehicle, right?
What's your discount?
Good.
You had it on the dash?
On the dash, plugged in. Huh?
When did it happen?
This happened this week.
How long has that guy been working here?
Then the driver failed to manually add the trailer number. Then the driver failed to manually add the shipping document number. Those are all point violations.
And it's all the same driver?
This is one inspection, so it's all the same driver. And then the driver failed to certify the accuracy of the information. So on paper logs, how did we certify it? We signed it. You guys, all you have to do is hit the blue button that says certify. That's signing. So these are the point violations we get. So unsafe driving, using a handheld cell phone, 10. Speeding, 15 or more over, 10. State and local laws, speeding in a construction zone, 10. The 7-point violations are the seatbelt and speeding 11 to 14. 5-point violations, failure to obey traffic control device, which would be the sign that says pull into the scale or no trucks left lane. Following too close, an improper lane change. And then we have the little 4-pointer that's 6 to 10 over, which we have gazillions of those. Hours of service, 10-point violation. Operating while you are ill or fatigued. 7-pointers are the hours of service laws. Failed to report a record of duty status, violating the 11 or the 14-hour rule. And then the 5-pointers, no record of duty status, record of duty status not current, and then a 1-point violation is the ELD not properly reported.
You got you work for your 14 hours.
So when we used to go in and do audits, you had acute and critical violations. Acute and critical violations are what shut companies down. They don't even give you the opportunity to repair. There's a shutdown involved, and the minimum for the federal government is 30 days. So these are the top 5 acute violations that were found across the United States, is allowing a driver to operate with a suspended, revoked commercial driver's license. How often do I run your driver's license, guys?
Every year.
Once a year. So if somebody screws up and decides, I'm not going to pay the ticket, and it was just 2 months after I ran them, I've got another 10 months before I run them, right? They're going to send you the notification in the mail. You've got to let me know right away. The next one is failing to implement a drug and alcohol testing program. We're very well taken care of on this one. We'll never get a violation on it. Failing to implement random controlled substance alcohol testing program. We've done that. Allowing a driver with more than one CDL to drive. How do you have more than one CDL in today's world?
Different states.
All the states are linked.
You can't anymore.
That's like the old school law.
No, this was in 2021.
What those rules?
These were the top 5 acute violations found.
Well, you can't do that. That's like an old school 80s thing where you have to
Yeah.
8
Oh,
licenses.
okay. Maybe they just threw it in to screw with that. And then failing to randomly test for drugs and alcohol. So, hey, let me give you guys a tip. And even those guys that will watch this on the video. If I call you in to come see me, or Tara calls you to come see me, come with a full bladder. I can't tell you how many guys, and I can't tell you what we're doing, right?
Right.
That would take away from the surprise. So when you come in with a full bladder, if I don't need that, you can go pee. But I can't tell you how many guys come in, they go right in there, take a leak, and then they come in, hey John, what do you want? I got John for a UA. Oh, I just want to pee, so I'm chucking bottles of water at him. So if Tara says John needs to see you, and she doesn't say something else, and don't call me, guys. It's not going to change. It's not going to change nothing, right? If I got to see you, I got to see you, right?
Right.
Don't call. So come with a full bladder. We test 4 times a year, right? Every quarter,
Randomly.
random. So you don't know if you're going to be on it or not. Here's the critical violations for 2021. Not using the appropriate method to record hours of service. So the ELD was wrong. False record of duty status. Inquiries into employment records are not kept in the driver DQ file. That's covered 100%. Using a CMV not periodically inspected. Who couldn't find their annual inspection? Yeah. So we need to make sure we got to get this taken care of. And then using a driver before receiving a pre-employment result. So that's why when you guys come here, we can do the test drive. Test drives are okay. But before we can allow you to drive, we've got to get that result back from the lab and from the medical review officer that says, hey, he's good. There's nothing bad in this system. This is a fine to a driver.
What the heck? For what?
It says, as a result of this review, violations were discovered. This letter constitutes a notice of claim by the United States Department of Transportation, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration against, and I blacked out his name, for the amount of $15,990.
Is this one of our drivers, John?
So in 2001, all their fines got doubled. They passed it through the Senate and through the House, and the fines doubled. So as far as the company goes, if we're caught not having say we use a guy before we get the results back on a drug and alcohol, it's $22,000 for each offense. So the fines have gone through the roof, guys.
So what were the violations? Do you happen to know?
Yeah, what was that violation for?
I don't know the actual violations.
Well, it said what they were up there.
So 395 points driving commercial motor vehicle over the 11 or 14. This was an owner operator. 396.17 is the annual inspection, and the 387.77 is insurance. So bad roadside inspections does this to everybody. I mean, everybody gets screwed in this room, because then we start spending more time on the sides of the road with the roadside inspectors. You get to meet people at the scale houses more often. So no matter what your job is, try to have fun at it.
Oh, that's so funny. You're terrible, John.
Well, I gotta laugh every now and
I
then.
know.
So please correctly secure the load before you leave the shipper. You guys will sometimes pull in here and I say you guys because I don't want to single anybody out. But people will pull in here and I'll walk out, I'll watch them go by my window and I'll go out and I'll be like, what the heck? Oh, I was waiting to get here. You think Juan Cruz was thinking that? When he slid all the I-beams into the back of his cab?
No.
So where do we secure properly at?
Shipper.
The shipper. Before you leave.
And CMC, Maricopa County, was sitting across the road waiting for people to drive
And-
across Germain with an unsecured loading.
MCSO had 2 deputies in the last commercial vehicle class. So you're going to see a lot more of them. Know your weights, guys. If you're not aware, you can get as many scales as you want on your common data card. They don't cost you nothing. You get an overweight ticket, guess who pays it?
You do.
Yeah.
There you go.
Got
That's
my
fun.
Please use chains on steel. Chains on steel. Chains on steel. Please tier secure your loads. Pull back at a 45-degree angle or less. Sometimes.
Using the rub rail.
That took me back to the academy right there.
What?
Wait.
Meanwhile, look up.
Listening,
So-
listening.
Yeah, that was. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pick on you. So 45-degree angle or less, okay? So that means instead of stretching it way back like this, you just come around the front and down. So 45. And use edge protection. If it's a rounded edge, you don't need it. But on vertical loads, are both sides rounded? No. Only one side is, so we need to use edge protection. Please take pictures of any damage to the load prior to leaving the shipper. So last month we got a claim up in Tacoma, Washington. In fact, somebody was supposed to take pictures for me. Who was that? So we hauled an aluminum coil.
Oh, yeah,
or
that's
two
okay.
up to. We hauled 2 aluminum coils up to. And, no, Peter didn't damage anything. He just. We hauled them up to Tacoma, Washington. When they got there, the guy says, "Oh, the coils are damaged." Writes it on the bill later. So the broker we hauled it for sends us a bill. Guess how much?
90 grand.
Oh,
30 grand. $30,000. So then the driver calls me. Hey, guess what? I go, what? They said that the coil was damaged. I'm like, I'm aware of that. He said, it wasn't damaged when they put it on. But it was when they took it off. And I'm like, okay, that kind of says it was us. And he said, well, the guy said it was because they squeezed it too hard. So watch your loads. Watch the loads. I mean, the rebar is rebar, but aluminum is expensive. So 2 coils, 30 grand.
Mine was perfect.
No, not yet. You would know that by pictures, but
I did take pictures.
we have real nice pictures of a tarp.
Yeah. You wanted me to take pictures when I took the part off. Now I scrapped it.
Oh, man.
And all you do is go like this, and one down the middle.
It's okay, Peter. It's okay. I have to pick on something. Hey, I'm sorry. All right, Ed, let's see. So, pictures.
Could we use the rub rail as an anchor point?
No, we'll get to that. Let's see. Please, if the load gets damaged in transit, send me pictures. I want to see it. Yeah, don't. You guys shouldn't be damaging shit in transit. That's all there's to it. I mean, the styrofoam is a bad load, but how do we secure it? You got to crank it down? No. And if you're afraid of it blowing away, tarp it. Please, huh?
How are you going to try that? Are you going to jump off there?
Yeah, I see me jump up there.
I'll call you next time.
That's why I do the job I do. Please tarp when told to tarp. This is expensive for both the driver and the company. Okay, these spools from utility. Those are anchor points, keeping the freight where it belongs. From utility, drivers can spread out the load by looping chains. Rub rails and winches. One part of the trailers that's more frequently damaged is the rub rail, or tarp bar as it's sometimes called. It's not considered an anchor point. Imagine that, guys. Not considered an anchor point. Yet some drivers insist on using it as such. Securing cargo to the rub rail is not a recommended practice. In fact, at East, we do not even rate the rub rail because it's not recognized as one. The rub rail is there to protect the tie-down equipment. On the front of your utility trailer, do not use aluminum rub rail or aluminum pockets as anchor points for chain binders. These are all on the front of your guys' trailers. Please stop using the rub rails as anchor points. Strap flat hooks should hook to the bottom flange of the aluminum side rail or to the binder hooks welded into C-bar. So pipe spools, the pipe spools are rated at 6,500. The winches we have on our trailers are only rated at 5,000. So what's your actual synthetic wet 4-inch strap rated at? 54, right? Is it 54 or is it 5,000?
5,000.
5,000. Because now the roadside inspector's never going to know that our ratchets are only in 5,000, so they're going to give you the 54. Go ahead.
Can we get more winches out of the trailers?
I've asked and asked and asked, but they keep hiring family members and have to pay them an exuberant amount of money. No, I've asked.
Because we got that one winch that's always in the back of the trailer. It's absolutely positively worthless.
You can use it.
Right, but we had to weld the tabs in there. So guys, we had to weld the tabs because we got tired of grooving our own tires.
No, that one at the very end of the trailer, just put your chain in front of it, put a strap at the very end of the trailer. You can use it. I use it all the time.
Okay. So East. Do any of our trailers have the pocket you can pull up and have the chain in there? No. There's a couple of them that do, I think. So as we do this, we want a teardrop on these guys. Grab 2 points of contact if you would. Strap under the bottom of the trailer. If that's not available, on those trailers, what do we have? We have the J-hooks on there, right? The J-hook you can actually put underneath and grab. So there's always a way to do it. This is by far the best I've ever seen. So secure the bottom. Now there's a load out there right now. Not one freaking chain is on it. So.
And either the ends going this way and that way. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to pull back.
You remember.
So, as you can see, you need to strap the bottom of the first deck.
Is that my load?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember doing that.
I do it.
Then he gets the chains that are pulling back a little bit. Then he's got straps over the top of the first and at the bottom of the second. Then he goes over the. I like how he does on the top. I like that. That's going to keep it from tipping side to side. So here's some other pictures. Good load securement here, guys. Edge protection, chains. Looks good. I mean, you get seen going down the road like this, everybody's going to go, son of a gun. That person knows what they're doing. So remember that stuff on top. You guys see the V-bar on top? Yeah. You have to strap that down. And so one strap for every 10 feet and then a penalty strap. So right there, he's only got 2 and it's 20 feet, so he's got to have another strap.
I got 10 points.
So we added another strap to it.
There's nothing on that bundle right there, though.
Well, back.
That bundle.
got two ahead of him.
There.
There's two.
Oh, you got 3 on it.
No, just two.
No, there's two that's going over the bundle itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from that.
All right. So our eyes to the eye to the sky coils. J hook in the front, 3 over the front, 2 all the way back. J hook on the back.
Hey, John, when is
These
the
these have to be like this. Otherwise, we're in violation. J hook front, J hook back, guys. David called me out on it and won. So what?
I saw a guy from another company the other day. Same thing right there, but he only had 1 strap down each one.
Yeah.
Just one, going all the way down. I went, oh.
CNC hauls them that way. The one strap over
CNC
everything
does
and
it.
cross straps on the front.
No,
CNC
they
does
didn't
a
have
lot
2
of things
nothing.
wrong.
One all the way down.
But you know what? CNC or the other company doesn't have our DOT number on the side of their trucks. So let's do it right. Let's keep it going.
I
Yeah.
just got
So we need to have 2 chains in the front.
Three
Three.
securements on the front,
So only one is
plus the J hook, the
Uh-huh.
front strap.
Okay. Because we used to, they told us that we used to have 2 chains and 2 straps.
That's what he has. Well, he has 3 chains and 1 strap. You can, change the straps on this either way. Going around the front and going around the back, it's a chain on the J hooks.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And then, see how it doesn't pull very far back? That's a 45-degree angle right there. So this is really, really good. Really good job. What do you see wrong here? The only thing I bitch about is single. Only use one spool.
All wipers on one side too.
So I like it.
Those look like $140.
Still looks good.
Looks great, doesn't it? All right. Do we tarp like this, gentlemen? This is how tarp. So going down the road, this is what will destroy a tarp, because the wind gets in there, it blows it out, and then it starts rubbing it around on everything. Please take the time to do it right. Okay, so this is the front of the trailer. We have tear strapping, right? Here's the back of the trailer.
Aye.
No tear strapping.
Why do you only do it in front?
That's a good question. Good question. You guys know what this is? It's a wire, right? Are we supposed to use chains on that? No chains, right? What else do you see?
One
No
coil
strap coming back.
4x4 is a 2x4.
It's a 3x3, and there's only 1 coil rack on it. So the law, so this is actually, the way we have you guys doing it is there's an exemption to the actual law. It allows us to do it a certain way. What happens is if roadside inspectors find too many of these happening, they take the exemption away. And then you've got to put coil racks on every single one, all the way down. So what the law says, here's a better picture. Here's the back.
Aye.
So here's the law. So it says in its original exemption request, the flatbed, the flatbed cargo safety group said the post 2004 regulations did not address requirements for securing ROSA coils, and carriers hauling the ROSA coils with eyes crosswise were required to secure each coil individually. But the exemption says we allow these carriers to secure the coils with timbers at least 4 inches by 4 inches at the foremost and rearmost coils. And then the group went on to say that treating each coil as an individual coil places a burden on the motor carrier to significantly more coil bunks and timbers to secure each coil in a raised bunk off the deck. So when you're hauling these, the front and rear coils have to be off the deck. That's why you got to put a coil rack and 4x4s, and it supports it off the deck, front and back. The ones in the middle, they can touch. They don't have to be in coil racks. But if we continue to have violations that are found roadside like this, they'll take the exemption away. Then we're going to have to put coil racks and 4x4s on everything.
Hey, John, why can't you use the chain going across the middle?
It damages that stuff. So,
Even though it's still legal.
yeah, it damages it. So we just want to use straps. Just on that stuff. This is a phenomenal job. Not one strap. I like this a lot. Cross chain the front, chains across all the way down, 2 spools, just an excellent, excellent job. This next picture will reveal who it is. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's the next one. No. Is it reveal?
Good job, man.
Oh, it's right.
You win a Coca-Cola
So, hey, seriously, guys, this stuff, if it slides,
Just screw it here.
these are your ankle biters right here. You'll look down and you won't have feet. How about this one? Cuts and loads. What's wrong here?
Cooks and loaded like that. That's what it is.
Okay. Does that keep us from fixing it before we get done?
I bring it on.
There's some places that won't fix shit.
Well, those boxes, I promise you, don't weigh too much.
Yeah, you can put
Oh
that
my
shit over.
God.
That one, actually, that one, yeah, it's a 2-person lift. The bottom one right
But
there.
you can push it.
Push it over. Do it right, eh?
How many you push that?
Well, I'm not saying not to push it over. You adjust that shit before you leave cooking, because asking them to do
But
it.
you'll notice, is this cooking right there, guys?
Yep.
No.
No, you're not at cooking.
Where are we here?
That's the yard.
Right here. Alright, so here's some good news for you guys. So listen. Ladder reimbursement. We're going to reimburse you guys to buy your own ladders. So the ladder and receipt must be brought in to me to have reimbursement form signed. You must always carry the ladder on your truck, have the ladder secured against theft and becoming a loose load, ensure proper use of the ladder, ensure you have 3 points of contact at all times. We'll reimburse you up to $150. You must be with us for 6 months after the reimbursement, or else we will throw away there. Dan. So, there is. There's the ratings on ladders, guys, believe it or not. And OSHA will watch that rating. So if your ladder is rated for, say, 350 pounds, and you weigh 350 pounds, and you throw a tarp on your shoulder to go up the ladder, what have you just done?
You broke it.
You've overrated, you've exceeded the safety rating of the ladder. So, OSHA portable ladders, huh? Yeah. So, you guys need to keep yourself falls from portable ladders are one of the leading causes of occupational fatalities and injuries. Right now we have a driver out, broken elbow, and now they're looking into his back. Read and follow all labels and markings on the ladder. Avoid electrical hazards. Look for overhead power lines before handling a ladder. Avoid using a metal ladder near power lines or exposed energized electrical equipment. Always inspect the ladder prior to using it. If the ladder is damaged, it must be removed from service and tagged until repaired or discarded. Always maintain a 3-point, that's 2 hands and a foot, or 2 feet and a hand. 3 points of contact while climbing. Keep your body near the middle of the step and always face the ladder while climbing. Only use ladders and appropriate accessories for their designated purposes. Ladders must be free of any slippery material on the rungs, steps, or feet. Do not use a self-supporting ladder as a single ladder or in a partially closed position. Do not use the top step rung of the ladder as a step or a rung unless it was designed for that purpose. Use a ladder only as a suitable and on a suitable level surface unless it has been secured top or bottom to prevent displacement. Do not place ladders on boxes, barrels, or other unstable bases to obtain additional height. Do not move or shift the ladder while a person or equipment is on the ladder. So, an extension or straight ladder used to access an elevated surface must extend at least 3 feet above that point at the top. Do not stand on the 3 top rungs once you've gotten up there, else it will flip out. The proper angle of setting up a ladder is to place its base a quarter of the working length of the ladder's height away from it. So, a ladder placed in any location where it can be displaced by other work activities must be secured to prevent displacement, or a barricade must be erected to keep traffic away from the ladder. Be sure that all locks on extension ladders are properly engaged. Do not exceed the maximum load rating of a ladder. Be aware that of the ladder's load rating and the weight of its supporting, including the weight or any tools. Now we get to watch a video on it.
When it comes to ladders, although there's many different types, it's also one of those tools that most of us have used that we don't really give much of a second thought. And they're also one of the most dangerous tools, because anytime we use a tool and we don't give it its due diligence about properly inspecting it and using it in the proper perspective, again, we go back to the, oh, I used it this way that one time and nothing bad happened. And then we get to the, oh, that's acceptable because nothing came back and hit me enough that it told me that it was dangerous. And ladders have traditionally been a very dangerous thing. Look at the fault statistics from ladders. They're very dangerous. However, the ladders that we use in today's market versus ladders of yesteryear, shall we say, are a lot better. There are ladders on the market now that have platforms. Some have platforms with a little gate so you can walk up. They're adjustable, and each leg is adjustable. So instead of grabbing a brick, digging a hole to get your ladder leveled, there's actual leveling feet on each one of the 4 posts, or ones that even as you extend it will have outriggers to give better stability on the left, right, or the tip over. It still comes down to best practices. Always keep your belt buckle inside the rails, 3 points of contact while you're climbing up and down, 2 feet in a hand, 2 hands in a feet. Again, never assume that ladders are always safe, because the ladder, if used properly, can be a very safe and effective tool. Just use it in the right way, or use the correct ladder for the scenario.
No? Okay, how much will the company reimburse you?
150.
Up to 150.
150.
Going to ask.
How do you prevent it from getting stolen on your truck if you can't put it inside your truck to lock it up?
That's a great question, Lance. I was thinking the
Well,
same thing.
Because my idea was if you put it like on the box, like on mine, put eye bolts through the box and a little chain with the lock on it.
They make cables. They're called kryptonite. You can lock. And those are very, very hard to
Okay,
get.
but if it's on, like you saw mine on top of the box,
Uh-huh.
what do I connect the chain to? What do I connect that lock to secure it to the box?
Go around your friend.
There's no room to get that between my friend and the box.
So you got
There should be.
What's the cable called?
Huh?
So what cable?
Kryptonite. That's what keeps Superman down. Alright, so, hey, listen, that's a good thing for you guys, that $150 reimbursement. It's your ladder. We're going to pay you to buy a ladder. So ELDs, guys, let's talk more about this.
Hi, I'm a product marketing manager at Samsara, and in this video, I'll be explaining the sleeper berth rule. The sleeper berth rule is part of the hours of service rules for commercial vehicle drivers that were published in 2011 as a way for the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, or the FMCSA, to monitor working hours of anyone operating commercial motor vehicles with a CDL in the U.S. Designed to eliminate accidents caused by driver fatigue, the ruling determines the maximum number of consecutive hours a commercial truck driver or other types of commercial vehicle operators can drive or work before taking a mandatory rest break. Though the sleeper berth provision was created to establish safer driving habits and flexibility, it remains a complex aspect of the hours of service rules for drivers and fleet managers alike. The confusion is largely due to the split sleeper berth amendment. This rule allows a driver to extend an on-duty period by splitting up the required 10 hours of off-duty time mandated by the sleeper berth provision. So, why would a driver want to take split sleeper berth time? Drivers have a 14-hour window to drive a maximum of 11 hours and are required to take a 30-minute break every 8 hours. The sleeper berth provision states that once these driving limits are reached, a driver is required to be off duty for at least 10 consecutive hours before they can resume driving. The driving clock can only be reset when operators take the minimum 10-hour break. But the 14-hour rule can be problematic for drivers, especially if the time it takes to complete a route misaligns with the operating hours of a destination. Here's an example. A driver starting his shift in the evening may arrive at the destination late at night after the loading dock is closed. If the dock doesn't employ a night shift, the driver is forced to wait on site for the dock to reopen in the morning. Under HOS regulations, any time a driver spends at the docking station counts towards his 14-hour on-duty window. The split sleeper berth rule allows the driver to extend an on-duty shift by splitting those required 10 hours of off-duty time into 2 shifts. This allows drivers to adjust schedules for things like longer hauls or warehouse hours by dropping in a rest break that pushes out a 14-hour driving period. To learn more about Samsara and how we can help keep your drivers compliant, visit this link or visit the link in the description of this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe.
All right. So drivers may split their 10-hour required rest period into 2 periods, provided that one is at least 7 hours in the sleeper berth, a minimum, and the other is at least 2 hours of off-duty, minimum. So if you do it 7 hours in the sleeper, what does that mean you have to do off-duty?
3 hours.
3, because it has to equal 10, right? These 2 periods must add up to 10 hours. Neither time will count against the shift time when the second period is completed. By default, Samsara calculates shift points and removes potential violations after both periods are met. To proactively pause shift clocks between shifts, drivers can enable split sleeper berth start toggle on your ELD. So you can enable the split sleeper berth toggle in the driver app. To enable it, you log into the Samsara driver app. You tap the hours of service settings, and then there will be a split sleeper berth you can flip right over there. And it'll read it real good. And they're not on.
And if you don't select that when you're doing the split sleeper berth, when you get pulled over and the troopers go into your logs, it'll show every violation because you're not on that sleeper toggle.
Yeah, and there's no way I can just throw a switch here and toggle everybody over.
Wait, hold on.
You guys have to toggle it.
Hold on. So, you have to toggle that to make your split work now?
Yeah.
When I got inspected in Utah, when I was still on an E-log, Roy was on the phone with me. I was there for 2 hours, and that guy was trying to figure out where the violation was, and I ran splits for 8 days straight, and he was trying to figure out. And I may or may not have got kicked out of the scale house because I said, "Do you need help?" And
for it to not log the violations, you have to have that sleeper.
Yeah, so toggle it.
But it's gonna log violations.
But if it logs a violation, then it's not legal.
It's
No.
your split.
No, because
you're doing it right.
when you download your E-rods, your
Right.
electronic record of duty status, when you download it, it goes to a federal database. So you go on, the officer says, hey, send it to AZ4938.
Right.
Off it goes to the federal database, it looks for possible violations, and then it downloads it onto his computer with those possible violations.
Right.
It's up to him or her to look at it and say, yes it is, or no it isn't.
Right.
So the possible violations that's all they're saying. The feds are not saying this is an absolute violation, it's a possible violation.
So basically what you're saying, if you don't toggle that over,
Then it'll show
comes
you.
up as a possible.
Yes.
And the cop has to know what he's doing.
Yep.
Oh, I just keep that thing off and make her do the job.
I don't know that's a good idea. So here you are. You got your hours of service page with your 4 circles. You're gonna flip over to the hours of service. Then you see this at the bottom, split sleeper berth toggle. You turn it on, and you're good to go. If you guys need help with any of this, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you. Now, while we're on this subject, I had a driver call me a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, how do you put on chains?"
What?
Is that something you can explain over the phone?
What? How do you put on chains?
How do you put on chains?
Google.
I will show you guys here the easiest way to put on chains ever. Ever. You should always carry a 4x4 block in your truck about 2 feet long. And you will throw chains like that. Super simple.
There's an easier way to do it than that. Or by not doing it.
That's true. It's not like, yeah, because they're making so many trucks, and when we slide off the road. Alright, so hey, so once you have it toggled on, you can see. Before he toggled it, look at the hours. He only had 9 hours and 27 minutes, but after he toggled it, he gave back the 2 hours he had spent in off duty. So when you enable the option, the shift pauses after the first ineligible period until your status changes to on duty. Samsara displays a note in the hours of service log, however, that Samsara recommends that you manually add a remark to the log to help during a roadside inspection to clarify the split sleeper berth. In the Samsara dashboard, your fleet administrator can see your split sleeper berth is toggled in your driver log.
So that right there that you showed, the 2 hours, was that connected to an 8 or a 7 already, or was that just?
That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, so toggle that on and see what it does for you guys. So let's watch managing our duty status.
In this video, we will review managing your duty status with the Samsara driver app. You can see your current duty status at the top of the driver app here. I have been off duty for 6 minutes. If I click in, I can see all the duty statuses available to me as a driver. Please note that personal conveyance and yard move are enabled by your fleet administrator. If you wish to use either of these after they have been activated, be sure to select the duty status before driving the vehicle. Otherwise, the vehicle will automatically be put in drive. I can select a new duty status by clicking on it. I have the option of then making a remark. There are pre-selected available remarks, or I can enter free-form text. To search for the suggestion that I want. Location is pulled automatically, and I can save. And I can see my duty status updated to on duty. When I eventually wish to go off duty, I can update it again. When I select off duty, I'm given the option to sign out of the app entirely, or to simply go off duty. I will select go off duty, and I'm given a screen that allows me to manage my shift and cycle reset. I can change out of my duty status, or click X to return to the driver app main screen.
Okay, so there's been some discussion on what line you're supposed to be on. So off duty, this is straight out of the federal regs. Off duty is except for time spent resting in a sleeper berth. Except means what? You are allowed to put your line there, or if you're in the sleeper berth, where should your line be? Sleeper berth. Very good. A continuous line shall be drawn between appropriate time markers to record the period of the time when the driver is not on duty is not required to be in the readiness to work, or is not under any responsibility for performing work. That's off-duty. It's when you can walk away from the truck and just leave it. Sleeper berth. A continuous line shall be drawn between the appropriate time markers to record the period of time off-duty resting in the sleeper berth as defined in that 395.2. Driving is when you're at the driving controls and operating. On-duty not driving is when you are doing work outside of the driver's seat. So you're loading, unloading, fueling, servicing, things like that. And then the only thing that's required in the location or the remarks section is the name of the city and the state where the duty status changes. So driver responsibilities under the ELD rule is that driver's duty statuses will follow one of the four things that we just went over. Driver must manually input the following information: annotations, which is the remarks; driver's location description when prompted by the ELD; an output file comment when directed by an authorized safety officer. So that's where you send it to. The driver must manually input or verify the following information on the ELD: the commercial motor vehicle power unit number, the trailer number, and the shipping document number. Driver's use of the ELD. On request by an authorized safety official, the driver must produce and transfer from an ELD the driver's hours of service records in accordance with the instruction sheet provided by the motor carrier. What's required on the in-vehicle information? A user's manual for the driver describing how to operate the ELD, an instruction sheet for the driver describing the data transfer mechanism supported by the ELD, and then step-by-step instruction for the driver to produce and transfer the driver's hours of service records to an authorized safety official. An instruction sheet for the driver describing ELD malfunction reporting requirements and record-keeping procedures, and a supply of blank logs of record duty status graph grids sufficient to record the driver's duty status and other related information for a minimum of 8 days. Special driving categories: authorized personal use and yard move. These are things that we have the option to turn on and turn off, and we want to give them to you. Driver's responsibilities: a driver operating a commercial motor vehicle under one of the authorized categories of this section must select on the ELD the applicable special driving category before the start of the status and deselect it when indicated status ends. And when prompted by the ELD, annotate the driver's ELD record describing the driver's activity. So before you start to drive a PC or yard move, you're supposed to select it, make sure it's there. Then you're supposed to put down a remark. Now, if you guys drive in PC and you stop and you get out to do laundry, and you turn your truck off and you come back and jump in and start to drive, what duty status are you going to be in when you start to drive the second time?
Driving. That's what I asked you if you want to remain in PC.
It will if you're looking at it, but it won't tap you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, you're about to get violated." So if you stop the truck and turn it off, you've got to reselect your duty status, okay? So appropriate use of a CMV while off duty for personal conveyance. It says that these are examples for good use, but are not limited to. Time spent traveling from a driver's en route lodging, such as a motel or truck stop, to restaurants and entertainment facilities. Commuting between the driver's terminal and his or her residence, between trailer drop lots and his or her residence, work sites and his or her. In these scenarios, the commuting distance combined with the release from work and start to work times must allow the driver enough time to obtain the required rest as required. And the driver is not fatigued. Time spent traveling to a nearby, reasonable, safe location to obtain required rest after loading or unloading, which is allowed under personal conveyance. And then when you get there, you still have to have the required rest. So what's the required rest? What's the minimum required rest?
10 hours. 10 hours is fine, but 8 hours is sleeper berth. Continuous sleeper berth. 2 hours.
Can I PC to Houston?
No.
Why not? It's because my residence. That's where I live.
Yeah. What's our rule on PC? What's our rule on PC? 50 miles. And they also say that the company will set the distance limit. We've set it at 50 miles, so it'll get you partway to Tucson, but that's about it. Don't worry about number 5 because it's in a motor coach. Time spent transporting personal property. You're not doing that. And travel home from a working at an off-site location. That's where the oil is. These are things that don't qualify. Movement of a CMB in order to enhance the operational readiness of a motor carrier. For example, bypassing available rest locations in order to get closer to the next loading or unloading point or other scheduled motor carrier destination. After delivering a tow unit and the towing unit no longer meets the definition, that doesn't. Continuation of a CMB trip in interstate commerce in order to fulfill a business purpose, including bobtailing or operating an empty trailer in order to retrieve another load or repositioning a CMB at the direction of the motor carrier. Time spent passenger carrying. Number 5, time spent transporting a CMB to a facility to have vehicle maintenance performed. After being placed out of service for exceeding the maximum hours. Time spent traveling to a location to obtain rest. So when you're placed out of service, you have service there. Time spent traveling to a motor carrier's terminal after loading or unloading from a shipper or receiver. And time spent that's operating.
So that's violation to buy PC from CNC to here after being unloaded for the weekend.
Yeah.
The CMC to here is a violation?
Yeah. PC. If
Really?
you load it out there and you're out of hours, you're taking this goes apart.
Yeah, because what's in between here and CMC?
There's a love.
There's not only a Love, there's tons of places to park. And that's the problem. Because what did it say? Did it say a reasonable available location? So now an officer who doesn't sleep in his truck or have to urinate or crap beside his truck is going to make that decision for you. So I'm just telling you guys just the way that these are working.
Done.
Yeah.
Maybe off topic, but it's still PC. So say you're rolling down the road, you need to get to your destination, you need every minute of your drive time. So say you want to go grab something to eat on the highway, it takes like 7 minutes to get there. Can you PC legally? Like say you get to an off-ramp, boom, put PC brake, and then go, like say to a truck stop, get some food?
Yes.
Is that,
You can't do that. If you ask for like
because it's for like food or anything?
You find a rest area, you can drop your trailer and go.
No. See, the old rule of operating a PC with a load is out. PC doesn't have that restriction anymore. It's with a loaded trailer, an empty trailer, no trailer, several trailers, doesn't matter. PC is PC. It has to be intended for those users.
So for food. For like a... Because you know how, like, say you go into...
You'll get burned on it, I promise you. You'll get burned. I just tell you.
So then what's PC? So then what's this for then?
Didn't you just explain all this?
I know. Everybody's different stories. I use it like I ran out of time just to get to where I'm going to sleep at. That's all I use it for.
So that's wrong too. That's a false.
So then what's it used for then?
So that's called so when you get pulled over, they're going to burn you on trip planning. They don't say that you can use 100% of your hours. They say as you're going down the road, if you can drive another hour, but you're going to sleep out in the middle of Egypt, if you're okay with that, that's fine. But if you want a truck stop and there was one an hour prior, that's when you should have shut down. The government doesn't give a rat's ass if you guys make money or we make money. Let's be clear, as crystal clear on that. It is not attached to money. It's all about safety under the government side.
Yep.
That's
how
it.
much money the government can make.
So remember that. You run out of hours and you go, okay, PC, here we go. Because what are you doing? Are you moving closer towards your destination?
Yeah.
Are you furthering the load? You're going to get burned right there. Every time. Your thing? Now, I'll tell you what, that's... Or you
No, you
can
can't.
an hour back to that
No,
truck
you can't.
stop.
Okay, so PC.
No, then you're wasting gas, and that's even a bigger sin.
No, if you
You're
go
wasting
to the
gas.
exit ramp, right? Throw yourself on PC, drive 10 miles out into the middle of nowhere to get food. You have to PC back to the off ramp and then start your clock again. That's how the old rules were written. But that's not going to fly in DOT times.
No, they're going to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Why not use your
They will
drive
freak
drive
out on that.
Because PC is not that.
I'll just tell you, so listen guys, I've always been 100% honest. Most of the people out there doing these inspections don't have a freaking clue how to read logs. Promise you. And now that they've gone to the ELD, they just want it uploaded. Every time I get a call from one of the drivers that says, hey, my ELD is not transmitting. We're in a bad area. The officer wants you to send them to him on an email. Has anybody been in this room been in that situation?
No.
So you don't want to know what I say?
I'm out of the office.
I say, oh, I'm out of the office. I won't be back for a couple hours. I could be sitting right at my desk.
Straight up.
Because I'm not going to make it easier on them.
No, they got to be able to do
They
their
need to
job.
know how to do their job, just like they want you to know how to do yours. So I'm not going to send them the damn logs. They need to look at your ELD and figure it out. That's the way I had to do it for years and years and years.
Oh, yeah.
I'd look at the loose leaf log or the logs, the paper logs, and
That's
figure
my
it out.
story. You have to figure out.
Super easy. That they got to know how to do their job just like they want you to know how to do theirs. So, requirement of a yard is that the vehicle cannot be operated on what is defined in 390.5, which is the definition as a highway. A highway is any roadway, public or private, that the public can operate a four-wheeled vehicle on that is not restricted by signs or gates.
Property.
So where would this fall into Germain Road out there by CMC?
No.
Is that can you operate in yard move going across Germain Road? No. Once you get inside CMC and you cross through the gates, can you put it in yard move?
Yes.
Yeah, because they're not going to allow traffic to willy-nilly drive through CMC. In a truck stop, can you use your yard move? No. Anybody can drive through a truck stop.
Question. In PC, in truck stop, if you're going from fuel out at the end of the night to a parking spot.
No, because every time you guys change your duty status, it drops a location pin. Point. And so when the officer's looking at your logs, he'll hover over that and he'll show a satellite view. So if he sees you inside of the truck stop, he's saying you're going to get burned.
Yeah.
So, can I use yard move at a customer's location? Yes. Does yard move count towards my drive time? No. It's on duty, not driving. Does yard move count towards my 14-hour limit? Yes, because it's on duty. What if I forget to change the status and the ELD remains in yard move after I leave the yard or the restricted area? The time will be incorrectly captured as yard move, on duty time rather than driving time. This is a false log. I don't know why they consider it. To address this, the driver should immediately attach a comment to the log and explain their error. To follow up, someone, the driver or back office support person, will have to edit the driver's log to manually enter the driver's log. So if you guys are in yard move and you're out at CMC or out at one of the other places, you're driving around and you start hauling butt down the road and you look over and you're like, duh. All you have to do is pull over, figure out how far back it is, go into your log, edit edit the yard move time to end when you left, And then you add it to the drive time up to the point
But
where
it
you stop.
automatically does that 20 miles, 15, 15, 20 miles an hour.
Oh, okay, that's why they did that thing.
Yeah,
It's
it's all
automatically-
That makes sense. All right.
Oh, I get it.
So,
How long do I leave it on on-duty yard mode?
Don't use it.
yeah, well, when you're moving in the yard, leave it on. When you're not, when you're sitting there waiting for the crane or for whatever, get out of it. Save your 70s. Update weekly. You go to your Play Store, update each one of those. You're going to touch them. If it says update, update it. You have to be on Wi-Fi, guys. If you're not on Wi-Fi, it'll sit there and spin and spin and spin. And then it'll jack your computer up.
How do we have Wi-Fi? Come over here.
Not every
Every phone.
Bring it over here.
Every single phone becomes a Wi-Fi
So I
spot.
have to use my data.
Or
Or on the parking lot, you don't get it.
if you guys don't want to do that, go to a McDonald's, go to truck stop. They all have Wi-Fi. Oh, you did it. Find the spot. Libraries. Find all sorts of places. It's just once a week. Hey, otherwise we're going to be here for a while.
No, we're done.
So, hey, when you bring your truck here to the yard, the square box with the arrow in it, what is that?
Clock out.
That's log out of the truck and the log.
Everything.
Well, it's log out of the log. You're still assigned to the last vehicle you drove. But we just had it this week where the driver comes here to do something. He doesn't log completely out. He only goes off duty. The shop grabs his truck, moves it in. He's on drive time during his break.
And they don't just turn off the tablet either, you have to log out.
Log out, yes.
That happened to me.
And so, when you hit that button, it's going to bring up the second screen. You have one uncertified log. You can review it and certify, or sign out anyways. It'll say signing out, just like that. Please do not close the app. You'll lose any unsafe crap. Once that screen shows up, the driver sign in, you know you've logged out. If that doesn't show up, you haven't logged out. Let's see. Every motor carrier, its officers, drivers, agents, representative, and employees directly concerned with the inspection or maintenance of a commercial motor vehicle must be knowledgeable of and comply with the rules of this part. So who's this covered? Covers Scott, every mechanic, Stephen, David, Mike, George, Jeremiah, myself, but mainly you as a driver. Why you as a driver? Driver vehicle inspection reports require every motor carrier shall require its drivers to report and every driver shall prepare a report in writing for completion of each day's work on each vehicle operated. The report shall have all these accessories on it. Now, at the very bottom it tells you drivers are not required to prepare a report if no defect or deficiency is discovered by or reported to the driver. So you still have to do your pre and post trip. You have to show time for it. I don't want you flagging it with pre-post trip, but I want you to show time. But you don't have to create a driver vehicle examination report unless there's a violation. Okay?
Even though at the bottom it's you have to select safety drive before you can.
No. That's only if there's a violation.
Open it up.
That's only if there's a violation. Yes, sir. Let's see.
I just want to be clear on that. We don't need to do it PVR at the end of every day.
Unless there's a violation.
If there's no okay.
Yeah. Right. So, prior to requiring, so if there's a violation, you've got to have the mechanic's signature, and then you've got to re-sign that same dealer. And then,
they don't work verbal?
Huh?
They don't work verbal?
They don't work purple?
Verbal. I talked to them. Verbal.
No, not verbal.
No verbal?
No. No ball count.
No bobo?
Wax on, wax off.
I'm glad you're able to interpret. Thank you.
Wax on, wax off.
Require that the power unit and the trailer be inspected. Yes, the driver must be satisfied that both are in safe operating condition. Windshield wiping. This is another freaking thing we get all the time. You guys have to have fluid in here.
Really?
That's what they're burning us on. Gotta have fluid in there. If you get pulled over and there's no fluid in there, pee into it. I don't care.
Well, it's clear.
Something needs to squirt out of it. That's it. Lamps. All your lamps. All the required lamps have to be operable at all times. Day, night.
Chandelier works great.
Okay? Then, at night, they can put you out of service if they're not working. During the day, they can't.
Hey, those new utility trailers, those lights come on and off on their own. And
Yeah, the little.
Write it up.
They're a little flaky. Just gotta go push on it, it'll come on. Stay on.
Where's it coming on and off?
The little ones on the corner markers take a while, and you just gotta mess with them.
So the plug that's plugged into the back of the
Yeah, the
actual
little
light.
LED. Yeah. It's kind of blink a little bit.
But the thing is you go fix it, and then you'll be driving down the road and you hit some bumps or something, and it starts doing it again.
I've done it before on one of them 2 weeks ago, and they said that it's no issue.
Oh, really? Okay, Mike.
So, Mr. J, if your lights are not working during the day, they cannot write you up for that?
They can write you up, but they can't put you out of service.
Gotcha.
Unless you don't have brake lights or turn signals at the rear.
Right, but like your one headlamp that's out during the day.
They can write you up, but they can't put you out.
Gotcha.
Yes, Cody. Cody.
If you have a marker light out on your trailer,
I don't think it would matter.
and you can't find a replacement for a light bulb, if you take out the light, is it still considered a...
Yes, it's missing.
It has to.
Missing or inoperative is the way the rules are written. Francisco.
That connection that they have the straddles for the station. It has the lights and the bars in the back.
The light bar.
Can we have one of those extra in the truck? We can fix it? Because I have one over there in Utah, and I tried to fix it, and I take it out to the trailer, and the wire is broken. I can fix it.
Are you talking about?
He's talking about his light bar for the oversized loads.
Hey, they make this great thing called magnets. TA sells them. Buy some magnets, put some batteries in them. Bam.
They have magnetic lights you can put back there, but on the light bar, yeah, if you want another one, ask Scott for it. I have no issue with
Those
that.
connections that go in the trailer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody who's willing to fix their truck, that's great.
Well, I tried to because this is the 9, and I don't have no light. I don't want to pull over. But I take that thing out and the wire is broken, and I can connect it because they're not a screw. I don't know. There's something in there.
Maybe magnets.
Did he just say he doesn't know? That sounds like a problem you have with home. Okay? All right. Hey, so let's watch this.
Hello, welcome, or welcome back. This is Trucking Answers, and I am Mark, your humble host. Okay, now look, I put out a video about pre-trip, post-trip, and got literally hundreds of comments. And there are a couple of persistent themes in those comments that I want to address here. And we're going to talk about regulations here. That's what we're about. Being in compliance so drivers don't get tickets. I don't want any driver to get any more tickets, put the DOT out of business, and that's because we're going to be in compliance, not because we skate by and they didn't notice something or we're trying to cheat the system. Okay, that's the goal here. Every driver, no tickets. So let's talk about it. 395.2, 396.11, right, on the Green Book. The first problem that people said is, look, you have to log 15 minutes. It's required. A ton of people said the DOT requires 15 minutes for a pre-trip or post-trip. Okay, false, not true, not true. And people, if you think it's true, point it out to me in the regulations, okay? Put the regulation down there. There's no time requirement. You're supposed to log it as you do it. We used to do that because the paper log were broken into 15 minutes. Segments, come on people. It's electronic, there's no set time. Log it as you do it, okay? So, number 2 thing, and this is the one that people were really mad about. You either don't have to do a pre-trip, or you don't have to do a post-trip, it depending on who is riding, or you can just flag it, or whatever. Okay. What does the DOT say? What does FMCSA say? Do they say you have to do a pre-trip? Are the words pre-trip in there? No. They are not in there. But what does it say? Okay, before you drive, you have to be satisfied, that's the word, that the vehicle and any towed unit is safe for operation. Now, definition of on-duty time. One of the things they list is all time spent inspecting a motor vehicle. So, how can you be satisfied that the vehicle is safe if you haven't inspected it? That's my question. So is that a pre-trip? It doesn't say the word pre-trip. Can you inspect the vehicle while you're walking back from the Loves with a wiener that you bought? Okay? I don't know. Can you do it? It's just eyeball it? Is that, I've been driving since 1946 and I just eyeball it. I know everything. Okay. That's what it says. So how do you inspect it, which is required to be on duty? Inspecting a motor vehicle. How do you inspect it? All right, post-trip. What does it say post-trip? Well, a driver is required to prepare a driver vehicle inspection report at the end of each day. Not at the end of each trip, right? At the end of each day, listing defects that were found, sign it, and turn it into their company, and then the company has to fix it or certify that it doesn't need to be fixed. And don't start typing yet. I know. Now, if there's no problems, you don't have to fill it out, right? It's no, they ended that requirement, got it. But here's the same thing as the pre-trip. Okay, how do you inspect the vehicle to see if there's any problems that you should write down and get fixed if you're not out inspecting the vehicle? Okay, and inspecting time is on-duty time. Okay, so I want to know, how do you inspect it without being on duty? How do you just flag it? You just, again, so we go in and get our afternoon wiener, right, and we eyeball it on the way back. It just doesn't make any sense to me, right? And so, and look, and if 6 minutes, right, it's going to ruin your day. Especially at the end of the day, it won't make any difference anyway, right? Because you can always be on duty beyond 14 hours, no problem. We're only limited in our drive time. So how is that a problem? And if we're trying to skate a few minutes because we don't have time or whatever, look, skating through, to me, right, it doesn't make any sense. The other thing of it is, don't you want the vehicle to be safe? You know, it's not just you on the road making money. There's everybody else. And plus, what if when you're not on the road, right, in the truck? You're out there, don't you want everybody else to have a safe vehicle? So, talk to me about this, right? I'm sure many of you will. But I want to know, how do you inspect it without being on duty? How does that happen? The pre-trip or post-trip, the words are not listed. But these things are what is listed. And if we're inspecting the vehicle, it has to be on duty time because inspecting a motor vehicle is specifically listed as being on duty, all right? So that's going to be the wrap for the pre-trip, post-trip. Out.
Very interesting. He's right. 100% right.
Was he done?
Yeah, he's done. Believe me, he's done. All right, so here's some videos of us. So this is a good, this is good. You guys should be prepared and looking ahead for all these types of violations, okay? So we're going to concentrate on the vehicle to our left. And they see the exit that they want, so they pull over. The speed's 58, he almost slammed him. And that person can't get over, so they miss their exit. But whenever you see somebody coming over right at the exit ramp, that's what they're doing. We need to be prepared for that. Here's a good one. You're going to watch this driver. He's actually paying attention to his driving because on the other side of the freeway, somebody loses an axle. And here it comes, right across the freeway, right in front of them.
Whoa!
Can you imagine hitting a tire head on like that?
Wow.
This is where we are on Highway 44 between Susanville and Old Station, California. What's the California speed limit for trucks? Maximum. Anyway.
55.
55. Very good. 45. This is a little 2-lane road, Podunkville, California.
We're doing 80.
And here we go, boys and girls.
And it's snowing.
So here we are at 68.
Fucking hammered down, driver.
Damn man.
And he thinks he's a car. Because watch the cars. Now we're down to 63, but hey, he sees his opportunity.
Back up.
know, it's really crazy.
There we go. We're gonna accelerate. Here we go. 73. But then he sees, oh shit, here comes somebody.
Is that how you got it?
Harsh brake.
Harsh brake? So you pulled it back?
And there it goes.
Oh.
Do we need to drive like that?
No.
Negative.
Hey,
Look at this. This is mountain road.
Nice drive.
all the videos are.
First place in our contest, Mr. Fairby, 2200.
Good job.
Mr. Morales, 2000. Mr. Baker, 1975. Lalo, first place winner last year, 1925. Mr. Gaeta. So there's the rankings. Peter, you're doing pretty good, buddy.
I'm still up there, 8.
8.
We'll put money on your nose.
So good job. So here we are. Hey, and this is still early on, guys. Nobody's.
So what's the rest of it?
I mean, if Fairby or Morales or Baker have a ticket or an incident where they damage something, it's going to shake it up. So don't give up. Huh?
What's the rest of it?
You think fire me?
I didn't want to keep going down.
Why not?
Why?
Don't embarrass the rest of us.
I just wanted to go this far. So it's not too late. Just keep on rocking, man. You guys can get it. $15,000 cash first place. Second place is $10,000 cash.
And a new truck.
2 paper trucks.
And third place is $5,000 cash.
So, is there supposed to be like an updated this guy? When do we get those?
They should come out in your.
Right in the paycheck, right?
They should come out in the paycheck. This is also what's in your paycheck. As everybody's aware. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I think?
Oh, no, I was just saying we didn't get it
You didn't get it?
this week.
Do you get it weekly or
sorry.
monthly?
We get it weekly, right?
I get it month. I don't know.
Yeah, once a month.
I think it's only monthly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it was weekly, so.
Yeah. So, as you are all aware, the rising cost of fuel is extreme right now. We need you all to be conscious on where your fuel is. Don't fuel in California, please.
For no reason.
As always, please do not fuel in California unless it's absolutely necessary. And if you're going to have to get fuel there, get enough to get you out of that communist state. On the front desk up here, next to the brown box, and a bunch of you guys have it. These are our preferred fueling sites. California loves, please stay out of them. Unless you absolutely have to have fuel. We get better prices on these places. Our best price is at the Loves at, where is that, 67? 83rd Avenue. That's the best price we get on diesel. So, oh yeah. Oh, the lines are crap?
Yes. People just doing their half.
So what's coming, after we get the sawmill up and running, what's coming is we're putting our own fuel station here.
Okay.
So, but it's probably a year or less after. Mr. Montgomery.
So,
Hey.
like, let's say we're going to Utah, right? And our preferred one is Cedar City, right?
Okay.
And I never go past there because I don't like working for free, so I go up to the 17 that way. Where do I get fuel?
You fill the fuel before you leave here.
Make it all the way.
So my truck is 4.8 miles to the gallon. So if I get fuel at 83rd, I gotta get fuel where? Springville, Plymouth.
So you're going up I-17 to
Yeah,
the
'cause that's what I
89?
get paid for. Because I'm not going 70 miles out of route and doing that shit for free.
Right there. 17 over there.
What? Orange Junction?
That goes 69.
That's not a
No,
preferred.
That's not a preferred station.
You got
No, no, that's a sub. That's like a sublet of.
I have 260.
That way.
Feeling
I think so. Yeah.
There and then come back.
Again, all Loves is
I
different.
never get Cedar City.
Yeah, we get
No,
we
I'm
get
saying,
different
Fill
prices
here,
here.
go all the way up to Utah and come back, and 5 miles a gallon is 6 miles a gallon. And
You can't make it.
When you get to Springfield, you can fill up just.
Well, you
don't need a
No,
stop.
can't. Springfield around the
Springfield's
list.
not preferred, that's what I'm getting.
But you're not filling it up. You're just putting whatever you need.
Hey, draw him a picture.
Well, I'm just wondering, because Springfield's not preferred, Plymouth is not preferred. I never touch Cedar City.
Where is
Ever.
Okay. I don't drive, so you're gonna have to explain. When I drive, I don't.
I can't get 1,400 miles.
Well, if you got 5 miles a gallon, you're going 6, that's
It's not 5 miles a gallon.
This is
He said
4.
It's 4.8, and it's a strict 4.8. Like I get 914 miles.
And when you come over on the 20, you dump out at what?
Yeah, even the 100.
5 gallons at 260 is you're a little bit less than 1,300 miles. So if you go that way, get back down to the Cedar City.
Yeah.
I go that way.
He takes the back.
I never touch Cedar City. Yeah, I never touch Cedar City because I take the one.
Stop in my trap. I didn't even know where.
All right, hey, let's keep going, and that way everybody has the option. I don't know the answer, but I'll get it for you. So hey, these are our preferred routes or places. In California on the I-5, please no.
There's the list, it's not on the list.
And that's the only place California is. California is just communist country. So California actually passed a law that they can allow the government to tax gasoline whatever the government wants to tax it, the state government. There's no limit. They never passed a number. They said just tax gasoline whatever you'd like. Driveway bypass. All driveway loads must ignore bypass commands and pull into inspection sites in all states. We're here. Thank you for your attendance. If you guys real quick, if you guys have any questions, I'll stick around afterwards. I'll help you with whatever you need.
All right, thank
Oh, really? It's a brand new one? I'll ask.